Think about something that's happened great recently. It's just awesome and you're excited and it's an accomplishment and you achieved it and it's great. Now think about the 3 or 4 things that had to come before and they were bad. They were bad luck. They caused you to change. They caused you to turn. We think we've got it rough. We're on a path. Mark Akins is next. The heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure, brought to you by the Ruby Group, Sandler Sales Training, serving sales professionals nationwide from their Akron and Columbus, Ohio locations. They are one of the highest performing Sandler Sales Training affiliates in the nation, and they will make a difference for you and for your team. You can check them out online at therubygroup.sandler.com. So, Purpose Under Pressure. Folks, purpose is about what you want to do with your life. Pressure is what gets in the way. And my guest today is filled with both. He's Mark Akins, a sales professional with the Brewer Garrett Company. He's also, and listen to this, he's a keynote speaker, a workshop facilitator. He's an author. He's a volunteer. He's a mental health advocate. And that's just what he does. He wrote the book, Challenge Your Perception of Cold Calling and Don't Let Anxiety Hold Your Success Ransom. He is a survivor. Mark Akins, welcome to Purpose Under Pressure.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Man, I'm glad you're here too. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first met you, Mark, I had this impression of you that you were full of, everything that I wanted to be full of. You had optimism and you had confidence and you just seemed to me like you'd already overcome the mountain. I was like, this guy has done it. And then I learned from you and I spoke with you and I understood that you're just doing it. You're just probably never, ever going to accomplish that big, hairy goal at the end, but you're also not going to stop. And I was just overcome by just a belief in what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And I'm really proud to welcome you to the show. And I'm proud to let people get to know you here on Purpose Under Pressure.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. You've always been great. And I appreciate your honesty too about that. That's awesome.
So tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your purpose. I know you're a salesperson. I know you're an author. You're all these things. Tell me what makes you tick, man. Why are you doing all these things?
Well, that's a great question. So I want to say at the end of the day, what makes me tick, if it has to be one thing, is that when you have that burning desire, when you understand, you tap into the higher source, whatever that may be for you, you tap into that and your inner self. And when you really understand what you're here to do, you have this burning desire. And when you have this burning desire, it almost disintegrates you if you don't do anything about it. You know, it will overcome you. So being still and living my everyday, if I wasn't going after the purpose, now that I know what it is, it's going to cause me more pain than any fall along the journey.
And what is
going
it?
After your purpose.
And what is it? What is that purpose? What is that thing that drives you, Mark?
So 100%. And it's funny because when you ask a lot of people, and I ask a lot of people this, and one of the big things you hear is I want to help people.
Yeah. Like, everyone says that. I want to help people.
Everybody says that. And I'm like, well, there's a jillion different ways to do it. You could work at Giant Eagle and help people. Like, seriously. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not making light of anything.
Nope.
But so I feel like what my purpose in life is to be able to use my life experiences and the way I've overcome them to be able to prevent other people from having to repeat those same behaviors. I had a really, really tough time through life, you know, my upbringing, and then even in my early adult years, the things that I've been through and had to overcome with no mentor, no coach, no father, no mother to ever try to guide me out of it, never seeing a work history in my family. And so it's just the things that I've had to do and go through and get through have all just been through me challenging my perception. And the secret to perception that I've discovered is that it's not what you see is what you get. It's how you see is why you get. And so my biggest thing is to be able to no longer let people get by on just being told what to think, but I would love to be able to help people learn how to think. And I think that that's what we're missing in these days and times. And once you're able to come to your own understanding and develop your way of thinking, I think that a lot of people will, the entire life journey would just change drastically for them, you know.
And you're doing that through the books that you write and the motivational speaking that you're able to do in the groups and the one-to-ones that you're able to interact with. And I'm interested, I want to talk about your past, and I want to talk about the things you've overcome. But to put it into perspective, did your purpose now of really changing the way people view the world and interact and impact the world, did that come before these things that happened to you in your past and that you amplified to get across them, or are they an outcome of the things that you've gone through? Did the purpose, shine light on the diamond, right, and the rock, and turn it into diamond, or was the diamond already there and it's just overcome?
So I want to say that's a great question. Also, I want to say it was already there.
Yeah.
Only on the strength that I've always been the type of person who I would literally give the shirt off my back. Like that's just who I am, to be 100%. I blew my wife away, like as we were dating and stuff like that, because, opposites attract, right? So I was a bit wild, right? And a little rough around the edges and everything. And you get with this really nice, wholesome girl, and it's, and it's like, when is she going to see this monster that, that I was? But it's really just the actions that you take and the situations that you're in and the corners you're backed into that really make you lash the way you lash out. And so, she'd see me just being my normal self. She'd always tell me what big of a heart I have. But I think it's always been there, and I just never knew how to channel it. So even when I was a teenager, I had dreams of being a musician and being a big music star and, all of this great stuff. But before I wanted to embark on this journey, I always told, and this is the teenage me speaking, right? And we're at I was 17, my junior year in high school, and the counselor told me I had 3/4 of one credit. I needed 22 to graduate by the next year. And so you're talking to a teenager that had no evidence, right? Because if it's what you see is what you get, then everything around me was saying I was a loser and I wasn't going to make it. But it's how you see is why you get. And this kid, this seemed to have no way to even get out of high school, was still thinking that before I jump out there and become a superstar, I never want to say that, look, Mom, I did it. I never graduated high school. I hate to hear people say that stuff because you just encourage the next generation to think it's okay. I don't need to go through this formal education just to make more than my teachers, just to be able to make more than my neighbors, more than my mom, more than my dad. So even then, I didn't want to leave that type of impression before I even knew I would be any type of role model. So it's just that as life continued to hit me and the things that I've went through, me figuring out a way to challenge my perception and come out of all these situations and find a center and still be able to do whatever I had to do and stay mentally stable, and even through the mental break, and coming back out of that, I had to figure it on my own. So it just gave me more hope on what people would be able to do if I was able to get a hold of them. And I believe that everyone is special in their own way, and I do believe I'm a superhero, but there is nothing super that I could do that no one else couldn't become a superhero and do, is what I feel.
And you're here to put the capes on the others. And that's what I was expecting. When I asked the question, I wasn't quite sure what you'd say, but that's why I knew you'd be a great guest on the show, because I think you are the definition of purpose under pressure. That diamond was always there, and it wasn't a rock of coal that needed to be turned into a diamond. It was a diamond, but the pressure was strong. And you overcame so that you can impact others the way you are now. And so talk to us a little bit about the pressures that you overcame, the things that you had to overcome, the things that you had to battle back so that you're able to make the impact in people's lives that you're making today.
Oh my gosh, starting back from when?
At least yesterday, but anywhere that you think it's important.
Well, it started off from the very beginning. So
because you've had a rough go. Let's just say that you've had a rough go, and that's what I mean. I mean, I didn't have the same go that you had, so kudos to you. But there's a lot of people that have had it worse than you.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But tell me your story. Tell me your story.
So, I'll give you the quick rundown. So, was born to a single family home. I had an older brother who was about 4.5 years older than me, and then I eventually had a younger brother. We're 10 years apart. And so growing up in this single parent household, it was just me and my older brother for a while. And neither one of us, our fathers weren't in our lives. And as we got older, it was always his excuse. and his outlet. So that was one of the first pressures, was because this is the only other male I see in the house, right? He's older than me. This is who I'm kind of looking to. And he's off the chain. He got expelled from school the first time in 6th grade. And ever since then, he never went back. And she tried to re-enroll him and re-enroll him. And he just would never get with school. He eventually goes and lives with my grandmother. He wouldn't do any chores or anything. So then the double chores for me. And just ever since then, right, you got to be responsible. You got to be the man in the house in some sort of way. And then my mom, because she didn't have that companionship, a lot of times the conversations we would have would be things that a kid shouldn't be talking to another adult about. So I grew up fast,
Yeah, buddy.
Seeing and hearing and learning things. And so what happens too is when you're in a particular environment, and this is why we have to challenge our perception of these students and their behavior when they come in, because when you're in a particular environment, sometimes school is more of an escape than you'd ever imagine. So what was my biggest thing was, my mom's under stress. She's not working. And, we're doing the welfare and the Section 8 and all of this stuff. And, she's wanting companionship. She's wanting some type of steady career or whatever. But you got to fight through the pressure, to get to your purpose. And I just think that she didn't really have that fight. And so between that and, dealing with my younger brother coming into the picture, and life just keep hitting us, and nobody's perfect. You're not I feel like you are perfect, the perfect you, right? I'm the perfect Mark Akins.
Okay.
But when it comes to me telling you if you're perfect to what my standards are, then no, you're not. You see, you can never be perfect to anyone else's standards. This is why you should only look inwards for things like that. That's the same thing as beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So is perfect. That's in the eye of the beholder as well. So just overcoming a lot of things at home. When I would go to school, it was a free-for-all. It wasn't that I was looking to be a troubled child but it was, you go and you're around all these kids, you're able to hang out, right? Like I said,
did you get in a lot of trouble? Did you get in a lot of, yeah.
Oh, I did, because I'm outspoken. So I've always been that way.
And where did that lead you? Where did that lead you?
Oh, well, the first time I got arrested out of school, I was 14. And it can lead you wherever you want it to lead you. So for me at that time, it was cute. It was cute to now, you're the bad boy, you're verified, you're getting kicked out of this school, you're getting kicked out of that school. It was pretty cool at the time. It was like a little badge of honor. But I'll tell you something that really started to hurt my heart is as I got older, I realized that the influence I had, whether I knew it or not, was stronger than I wanted it to be. So when I was doing the things...
Oh, say that again. The influence you had was stronger than you wanted it to be. In other words, you were called to something that you weren't owning up to. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Because had I known the power of my influence, then this whole journey would be different. So I say that because as I got older, I realized that there were a lot of children who weren't drinking alcohol until I was drinking around them. They weren't smoking weed until I was smoking weed around them. There was, a lot of, it was a badge of honor to me to, have sex with a virgin, and we count up how many virgins we had. And you're stealing people's innocence. And I was with a buddy of mine, and, we were older at the time, and we were talking, me, him, and his younger brother, and he thought this was a cool thing. He said, man, the first time I ever smoked weed was with you. Yeah, I was 12 years old. And I'm like, oh God, Matt, when I started realizing things like that and how I had been a curse to some people, and the things that they followed in behind. I remember there was a kid that I was really good friends with, and we fell out because of some of the things that we've gotten into together and some of the things that I drug him into that he no longer wanted to be a part of. No, that I no longer wanted to be a part of.
That you no longer wanted to do it.
Yes, but he was indulging in it. And so we stopped talking, and it was really like a real heated beef between us. And so I saw him right before graduation, and I spoke with him, and he said that he was most angry at me because he only got into a street gang because I was in it. And that was his way of wanting to get closer to me. And it really absorbed him, and they were doing really bad things. It was like it tapped into something in him that was just waiting. And now I want to do that on a total opposite end. So I feel like I I suffered a lot from those things probably coming back to me. But yeah.
So you realized that you were a leader and you were just leading in a direction that you should not have been leading in, and people were following you. So you switched that around. I'm wondering, before we talk more about the leadership and the things that you're doing on a positive scale, was there a low point for you? At some point you had to realize that, holy moly, this is not the path that I'm supposed to be on. Was there a low point that you rock bottom that said, nope, I got to spin it around. I'm going to go the other direction?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I did have a pretty serious suicide attempt. And if you can believe it or not, that wasn't rock bottom. So when I was 22 years old, I did shoot myself, and I was less than an inch away from my heart. I lost over 70% of my body blood. And I was told every organ in my body shut down. And they told my mom that I wouldn't make it through the night. And so here I am, and I'm able body. I still work out, and then, I'm good. But it was even after that. So after that, and the recovery was something else, I'm telling you. And you get up and you're starting to recover and you're doing good. And it was maybe a year after that I was homeless on the streets of Cleveland, 23 years old, with nowhere to go and just on the streets all night walking around or sleeping on a bench. It was getting crazy, and just trying to whoever, because the family they weren't supporting me. I didn't have any family supporting me. So it was more like just trying to date a chick because she might be able to let me sleep on the couch or something like that, and it was real tough, and I tried to work 2 jobs so that I'd be working most of the time. And so what happened at that point was when I met my lowest point, because life had already been so crazy for me. And the reason why I shot myself, I just spoke to some children about this yesterday, actually. And I told them you can never focus on the things that you can't change. And so when you think about the serenity prayer, you want to focus, you want to accept the things that you can't change, and you want to change the things that you can. You want to know the difference. So what I say is, you want to let go of the things you can't change, and you need to focus on the things that you can change and the things that are changed inevitably. So tomorrow's going to be Wednesday for sure. It's definitely going to be Wednesday tomorrow. It's next month is going to be May, right? Things will change. So when we find ourselves in depression, what we're really doing is we found a comfort in that moment. So when you're in depression, you are reliving. It's kind of like cutting, because it's what is slowly harming you, but you're controlling it because you can't control your thoughts. So when something is truly bothering you and harvesting inside of you, you have to talk it out. You have to write it out. You have to manipulate those thoughts, and you have to figure out how it works for you. So that's why I don't say so much change the world. I want to challenge the world, because I believe a true leader is someone who identifies with their own understanding. And then when they believe in their understanding, they walk in their understanding. Now, if you believe in your own understanding and you're walking and living in your own understanding, that you're going to feel the greatest joy ever. This is why leaders make other leaders, because why would I not want anyone to feel this? I want you to know what it's like to live in your own light and walk in your own light. So this is a big thing for me. And just at that time, I was just feeling like that nothing was working out. Maybe I was a piece of crap. Maybe I should have never been, and I knew I wasn't going to shoot myself again. It's like, wow, God saved me. I had this crazy premonition that I thought was a dream. And I was drowning, and was actually one of my aunties. She drove past me on a boat and wouldn't help me. And a figure pulled me out the water, and I walked to shore on the water with this figure. I couldn't tell you what it looked like, but and here I am still here, and I just was having, life showed me its ass. And so my lowest point was when I just thought about smoking crack and just giving up, and not killing myself, but just living a miserable life and just getting strung out on purpose and just saying, forget it.
Say on the rule, only decision makers can get other people to make decisions. Each and every day, we have a decision to make. Also, when we're with buyers in our sales process, we have a decision to make how we're going to lead that interaction. And if I'm somebody that can make daily commitments and keep those daily commitments, then when I'm with buyers, I expect them to make commitments and keep those commitments to me throughout that sales process. So first and foremost, I have to have a decided heart in order to lead other people to make the decisions that I'm expecting them to make.
And so now here you are. So first of all, that's the experience. Folks, what you just experienced there was what I experienced when I met Mark. Every single sentence was another step deeper into this amazing person that he is and the things that he's overcome. And there's so much more that we're going to be able to get to in the show. I do want to talk real quickly about the future here. Now you're talking with kids. And you just mentioned you're talking with young people. How old are these kids that you're talking with? Like just yesterday you had a conversation, right? How old were they?
Yep. Yesterday, we had an assembly. They were 9th, 10th, and 11th.
9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th graders. And so we know that's middle school age, and that is hard. And it's a lot harder today than it was when I was in school. I mean, it's a life-changing experience. So they're hearing your story. What is your outcome? What do you want out of that? Do you want to impact one person? Do you want to impact the entire? What changes do you see in there? Tell me about that experience and what kind of just lights you up when you're talking to these kids.
So honestly, and no one's ever asked me that question before. It's a great question. So what lights me up is when they shut up. so
out of just awe, like jaw dropping.
Just because I know you can't focus if you're talking to your neighbor, right? Or if you talk to somebody across the room. So when I walk into a room or when these kids come into a room and I just use my voice and I tell them what I'm going to talk about or whatever, and when they give me their attention, that's the goal.
Yeah,
that is the goal. Because
that's a baby step, isn't it? But you got to take that baby step. Good for you.
Yeah, because cool. I'm not going to tell them anything wrong. And I tell them all the time, you don't have to live by what I'm going to tell you. The whole point is to challenge you. I'm going to give you a perception or 2 or 3 or 4, and then I need you to figure out what makes sense. So what it used to be back, when I was younger, is if you wanted to become or be like something that you've never experienced, you have to talk to this person, that person, take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from here, a little bit, and you put it all together. But if we could do that in our minds, because your mind can go all over the place, and your imagination is it's greater than the internet. Your imagination is greater than the internet.
They created the internet.
It really is. That is the internet. That's what the internet is modeled after, an imagination.
Yeah.
That's why everything is accessible. That's what your mind is. And it works even more rapidly. And so if you can use your imagination and use your mind and take what you hear from other people, what you see from other people, and that's what I try to bring into when I talk to them. If they can take that and just one thing from it, 2 things from it, and think about it and challenge it. I did a teen career day and I wrote on the board, I love myself. And I made sure I told them, y'all read this anytime you need to inside your head. What I also like to tell the kids too is you're more amazing than you know. And what if I could prove it? And what if I could prove it to you right now? And they say, okay. Everybody said, yeah. You want me to prove it? They say, yeah. I said, well, how about this? And everybody's watching can do this too. This is going to be amazing. You do it too, Brian.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
So look, in your head, I want you to say the word blue. In your head. Let me know after you did it.
Did it.
You sure?
Yes.
How do you know?
I heard myself do it.
Whoa. You heard what you said without speaking with your mouth or you're using your ears?
I did that. Yes, Mark. I did.
Don't you ever let anybody tell you what you can't do.
Wow. Yeah, buddy.
Right? That's powerful. Here's another real quick one. It's okay to be a thumb. Everybody can't be a finger. You want to know how to know if you're a thumb? Hold up your hand. Okay, now make a fist, just a regular fist. The thumb is on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. So then when you open your hand up again, stretch your thumb across your palm and make that fist and just squeeze down. Just squeeze down. Is it pressure on your thumb?
Yeah, I'm going to break it.
If it's pressure on you to fit in, you were born to stand out. Now, when you make a fist, nothing holds a fist together better than a thumb. There has to be fingers and there has to be thumbs in this world. It's okay to be a thumb.
That is inspiring. And so I've never wanted to be a thumb. And now I'm thrilled to be a thumb. So I'm glad. Hey, real quick, I'm interested in your book, Mark. If you don't mind, we'll switch gears just a little bit. So you've overcome all these things, these societal things. Your book is about cold calling and sales. Yeah, there it is. Challenge your perception of cold calling. Don't let anxiety block your success or hold your success ransom. Mark, why? Why'd you write it, and what's it about? What's the deal here?
So that's that's a great question as well. And it's so funny because everybody always asks me, why did you write a book on cold calling?
Yeah.
So the grand reason I wrote this book is because, once again, being able to help people and starting with their mind. So challenge your perception of cold calling. When you think about cold calling, you think about sitting down on the phone, you're just calling people, relentlessly that you don't know or whatever. Cold calling is emailing. Cold calling is job interviews. Cold calling is your first date. So first of all, you can challenge your perception of cold calling. So real quick, when people think about cold calling, do they ever think about divide and conquer? So I'll talk about this in one of the chapters, right? So divide, cold, and call. And when you think of cold, when it's not in relation to temperature, it's lacking of warmth, feeling, emotion, right? When you call someone, when you're not talking about labeling or using someone's name, it's addressing them, right? So you're going to pick up a telephone and address somebody with lack of warmth, feeling, and emotion, right? So you have to challenge your perception of a cold call. You don't do that, and one of the biggest things is, the anxiety of doing it, the rejection, and
I mean, that
talking
sucks.
to people you don't know.
That sucks. Let's just call it what it is. I've done it for a lot of years. Cold calling sucks. Am I wrong?
You got to challenge your perception of it. So you have to find a way. You have to find a way to make it work for you. So even if it's going to be,
do it, right? It's just, you have to do it. If you're going to be successful.
If you say I'm going to do 100 calls, and even if you have to do 10 and then take a 15-minute break, or do 20 and then you're going to do 20 more in 2 hours, or whatever, and then you want to be in a comfortable setting. You want to be relaxed. I play music in the background sometimes, make pause in music before the call answers. But you just conversating with another person. As long as someone picks up the phone, communication is going to happen. So we hear about nonverbal communication, but on the phone, nonverbal communication happens as well. So if I was to pick up the phone and say, hi, this is Mark, ABC Company, and you didn't say anything, what did you just communicate?
That I'm interested, perhaps? I want to know more?
No, if I answered the phone and said, this is Mark, ABC Company, and you never said, hi, this is Brian, then it's like you're communicating, you're wasting my time now, first of all. Yeah. And if you're pausing too long, are you even ready for this call? Are you even, if you're talking too fast, do you care about if I hear what you say? Are you trying to slide something in?
Yeah.
If you're stuttering, do you know what you're talking about? There's all type of different because people have to be comfortable. It's something that a lot of times when I talk about this stuff, people just want to say, "These are your opinions, Mark." Well, we are human beings, and I understand myself as a human, and this is a true statement. Humans love to be comfortable, and if that wasn't true, the world wouldn't look like what it does today. And then everyone can take time and think about that. So whether it's what you're doing on the podcast here, your platform makes you feel comfortable. Your headphones are comfortable on your head. I'm sure you're not sitting on a brick. I mean, this is true, right? And this is why you don't want to walk into a room where everybody's staring at you like they want to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? People comfort loves company. So you have to be comfortable on this phone call, because maybe if you're not comfortable, you're going to project whatever you feel like. And if you don't want to be on this call in the first place, it could be the reason why they don't want to be on this call either.
Yeah. So you're taking the approach that, hey, if you're going to do it right. Set yourself up for success and accomplish what you. The thing that I wonder about you, Mark, and we'd only have a couple of minutes left, but I wonder if, for me, cold calling is always just terrifying. It just the fear of someone.
Why?
Because I'm worried that someone won't like me. It's just my own little personal demons. That's the thing that I want. I want everybody to like me. Okay, so when I call and they say sorry, I take it personally. So that's just me. I'm wondering, Mark, if the things you've overcome in life make cold calling just easy. And I wonder if people need to realize that life is a whole lot harder than sitting down and picking up a phone and trying to help somebody on the other side. I wonder if there's something to that.
Well, I want to say that all the things that we've been through in life and all the things that we've become is going to help us in one way or another. But I have always been not afraid to speak with people and talk to people and introduce myself and things like that. But growing up, it was never my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So I actually developed a fear of cold communication after dealing with, the rejection and stuff like that. So I wouldn't, and I kind of had to start from zero, and that's where the book came from. So I wouldn't so much say that. I would say that
Interesting.
what I have to do to cold call is a lot like what I had to do to develop myself from where I came from and what I've been through, and just get used to hearing no. That's one of the biggest things. If you can get used to hearing no, now you can take your own time and use your own beautiful mind. We all have a beautiful mind inside of our heads, and you can figure out how many times it takes to hear it before you get used to it. But I want to tell you real quickly, there's a group called Destiny's Child, and that's where Beyonce
Yeah.
got her start at. And these young girls, their first big hit single was called No, 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 No. It sold over 1.3 million copies, just that single in the first year. Now, 1.3 million people bought a song to hear these girls tell them no, 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 over and over and over again, right? You buy a song with the intent to repeat it. That's why you buy it. And so people are afraid of hearing this 2-letter word that nobody even constructed. It's naturally in the alphabet.
Yeah.
LMNO. It's nobody has even constructed it. So do you really have to feel that someone's putting an extreme amount of intense hatred or rejection behind it? You don't have to feel that way.
Mark, how do people find the book? How do people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about motivational speaking or opportunities or Brewer Garrett or the book or whatever? How do we communicate with each other?
Perfect. So to grab your copy of this book here, Challenge Your Perception of Cold Calling. Don't let anxiety hold your success ransom. All you have to do is go to Amazon.com. You could Google the title. You could Google Mark Akins, author, and it's going to come up. But go to Amazon and get your copy there. And then if you want to reach me on LinkedIn, it's Mark Akins. Facebook is Mark Akins. YouTube, Challenge Your Perception. Also on Instagram, it's Challenge Your Perception, but the O's are zeros. TikTok is Challenge Your Perception. So on all of those platforms, and just kind of what we're doing here, but in snippets, just, dropping some good feedback and tidbits and just enjoying it along the way.
Tremendous. Folks, I told you. Didn't I tell you? Do I lie? No, I do not lie. And that's what purpose is all about. That's what pressure is all about. And Mark, you've been through it all. And I just can't thank you enough for sharing your story. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. I just see great things coming from you. I'm not wrong about these things. I can't wait to see what you do next. And I know it's going to be big. And I know more importantly than being big. Let me check that. You're going to impact one person at a time. And I guarantee those people are going to make a difference too. And so I thank you for all the things that you're doing. You're doing God's work and go forth and prosper.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't do anything without God.
Mark Akins, he's my guest on Purpose Under Pressure. It's brought to you by the Ruby Group Sandler Sales Training. Wasn't he awesome? My gosh, that guy's got it together. Sellers are under pressure to perform, and that's why Sandler and the Ruby Group exists. Sandler and the Ruby Group helps you succeed on purpose. So if you're a business owner or you're in charge of salespeople, reach out to them and just talk to them, see what they're all about. It's going to make a difference in your efforts. This is Purpose Under Pressure. You'll find all past episodes of our show at brianmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your podcast. We do this every week, and we will see you next time on Purpose.